and you fall in love again, and you fall in love again. That sweet and chemical intoxication, and you think this is the reason why you're not with me. You'll forget everything, you'll forget everything, but there will be a little kernel, no matter how hidden, and you fall in love again, and you fall in love again. That sweet and chemical intoxication, and you think this is the reason why you're not with me. You'll forget, you'll forget, you'll forget everything, but there won't be a little kernel, no matter how hidden or buried, that will know the truth, the reality of our love, and why it was and it will be there. You'll know when it comes. And we're going to play you a little excerpt, a little podcast that we got from our next speaker called Helen Moore. It's on the perception of time. She deals with things on the 24-hour body clock. So Helen Moore gave a talk yesterday which was looking at how different states of our body, even like our bodies in different times of the day, daylight and nighttime, respond directly, and it changes our feeling, like when we need to go to sleep, when we need to wake up, and that it's not actually dependent on a clock or a watch, which we might think it is, but it's dependent on the light that we find ourselves in. And
things like chemotherapy works better according to what time of day you have it, and things like that.
Oh, which is incredible.
Yeah.
She also spoke about the effect of drinking on your natural body clock as well, which was quite interesting, and how it can disrupt it and things like that.
Was it that you get more drunk at lunchtime or get more drunk in the evening?
I'm not sure.
Lunchtime,
which is quite funny. So guys, if you want to get drunk, make sure you drink at lunchtime. That's the best time. Otherwise you're wasting your money.
She's on.
After your talk today on the effects of time and the perceptions of time through our body, we're wondering what you feel about the art that deals with this subject, and whether you feel that that affects your work or changes the questions you ask ever. Any artwork that...
Well, I'm a huge fan of Dali, and his clocks are so famous about the fluidity of time, and actually our bodies are very used to having a fluidity of time. So if we travel across time zones, we can adjust, so we get jet lag initially, but our bodies can resynchronize to a new time zone. So Dali is quite a big inspiration in how we think about time.
So in some senses that the art will does the art ever give you inspiration to ask different questions than you perhaps would through just responding to other research sources?
Well, I certainly find it helpful speaking to people down in the pub, because I think body clocks is such an engaging subject. Everyone can talk about sleep and how they know that the body clock affects them. So I find engaging with people from all different backgrounds really helpful, because everyone comes at it with a different perspective, and that is very useful.
Great. And do you have any hopes for the future in terms of artists or other narratives meeting the scientific narrative on this subject?
I think there's always opportunity for dialogue, and I think festivals and conferences are a great place too. Just have an intermingle of minds, because you never know where that next spark of imagination is going to come from to inspire that next experimental question or paradigm.
I think that's what you've hit on there, is that it is the spark of imagination for both the artist and the scientist, which takes us forward and finds new
Absolutely,
things, yeah.
Scientists, you just get that, suddenly everything comes together, and it's a very exciting moment. Working in the lab can, on the outset, appear quite tedious and mundane. You're going in doing the same experiment time and time again because you want to have everything controlled. But at the end, when you see that result and you see that connection, it can be so exciting to think, yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, great, excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time.
So we're back in the studio with Jugular, Sharma Raman. Hello.
Hello.
So we commissioned you a few months ago to put together Jugular for us as an exclusive by the Gung Ho Down 4 Secret Garden Party and also the Wilderness Festival.
Yes.
And I was very wise to. I basically wanted to not see it in a chitty bang bang kind of style, because I've got a lot of faith in what you do.
Thank you.
So it's been a real pleasure to see it coming to fruition.
Thank you.
So the last thing that we were just touching on was time. Have you read Jay Griffith's book, Pick, Pip, Pip?
No, I haven't.
Have you not?
No.
I find that very surprising.
Okay.
She's speaking at the forum in Wilderness, and I feel like I need you two to be friends.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant.
She talks very much about the politics of time and how it's used to as a tool of power, as an instrument of power, basically.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
how taking people's time is pretty much, can't take anything else, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
and it's different for different cultures, I must say. Also, the sort of attitude towards
absolutely.
time and how it's used. And
but also, until we segregated the days and the hours and the weeks into specific slices. I mean, an hour in the summertime was considered much longer than an hour in the wintertime.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also, it's a very misogynistic device, because obviously, a woman's clock is very powerful,
yeah.
and that power's been taken away to some degree.
Yeah.
There's also another woman I'd like you to meet called Laura Williams, who's building a tidal-powered lunar clock, which is going on to...
That is amazing. Are you serious?
Yeah,
wow.
going on to Greenwich Pier, and it will be the largest public sculpture since Stonehenge, I think. It's bigger than Stonehenge. Obviously that's not true, but it's bigger than Stonehenge. Not the biggest since, but it is big. And it's a moon clock, basically. It shows the time of what he said, the moon's position in relation to the Earth and the tides. And
that's incredible.
Yeah, and it's
made
also
just for a female.
Exactly. It's also tidal powered, and it's supposed to kind of draw us into a more
natural way of being. I guess.
Yeah, natural connection with the Earth.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought I would just.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
We have to get her to come and talk.
Well, if you're coming at Wilderness, I want to try and get you guys to hook up with these people before your show, and then facilitate some kind of group discussions and maybe dive in on their sessions.
That would be amazing.
But, Jay Griffiths in particular is someone who I think you would spar off incredibly. You know the book Wild and Elemental Journey?
Nope.
Very, very famous book. She's a pioneer. She's probably my favourite person, actually.
Oh, right.
Favourite living person
in the whole world, and whole wide earth.
Yeah, seriously. No, then you would definitely get on. So
brilliant. I really look forward to that.
But it's been a huge pleasure having you all here.
Thank you very much.
I'm really glad that I could give you the opportunity to put this together.
We have definitely been looking forward to it more and more and more as it's been coming together, and just been clapping our hands really, like the last week. We've just been like, we can all see it sort of taking shape. Together. Yeah, absolutely.
I think with Wilderness it'll be a lot more shanty with all this mud and hecticness. It can feel a bit much at times, but
it's been fun. It's been
fun.
It'll
be fun. I think at Wilderness we'll be able to take a deep breath and really give it legs.
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Amazing.
And lots of lakes.
So what's up next?
So it's actually a little response to Helen Moore. So she talks about the 24-hour body clock, and I, for one, have never thought I've had a 24-hour cycle. And so this is a little response that I have in that when the clocks go back, we have one day of 25 hours, and I feel like it sort of gets a little bit closer to the dream for me. So it's a little spoof song, and it's called 26 Hour Baby.
Lovely.
We would like to now move on to the next section, which was about the story of knowledge, and we had an amazing professor of evolutionary genetics, again from UCL, called Mark Thomas, where he basically looked at the evolution of our genetic progress through the years, and
also what we now call modern behavior, the birth of it when it comes to culture and arts appreciations in human beings. So that was about 40,000 years ago. I'd like to introduce Sarah Rundle, who in her response to this question of the story of knowledge and the birth of human behavior, decided to come up with a story called A Mother's Yarn, which is about the Sami people. Would you like to tell us a little bit about them?
Well, these are people who hunt and fish, and they harpoon seals, and sometimes they have lamps which burn blubber instead of kerosene, although these days they tend to hunt with ordinary metal harpoons which are fired with compressed air, and they have bobsleighs which are, yeah, they've got 4-stroke and 2-stroke diesel engines and all that kind of stuff. Freezers for the meat. So
am I right, they still have the same culture as they did 15,000 years ago, essentially?
Well, apart from the bobsleighs and the harpoons and the antibiotics